Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Pete, Films and Stuff. It's time for my favorite 1 hour of the entire week. Although I have a gut feeling that we may go a little bit long today. We've got a lot to discuss.
That's right. We've got a very exciting episode of House of the Dragons, and we've got the season finale of Rings of Power.
Where do you want to start?
Let's do what we normally do. Let's do House of the Dragon only because Rings of Power, it's fitting. It's got the finale. We can talk about it at the end and cap off the episode with it.
Fair enough. Okay.
What did you think? Let's talk macro view.
Macro view, I thought it was a very good episode to make. I mean, basically, Viserys has passed away, and the ongoing deterioration of his health was a major storyline, and really, it was just a bunch of like batting practice until he finally passes away. And now that he's passed away, the real fight is on, right?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And, we joked about it back in episode 1 and 2, but I have to say, they kind of handle his deterioration quite masterfully.
I agree. I agree.
With that last reveal of his face on, at the dinner table, at the family dinner, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
That was quite shocking. I mean, not in a grotesque way, but just shocking as to how much he's fallen. Let's put it that way.
Harvey Dent. Yeah. I mean, he and you have to give him a lot of credit. He goes out in a very dignified blaze of glory, right?
Yeah,
you see
absolutely.
A very heartwarming scene where he pulls himself out of bed, barely makes it to the throne, but he's, determined to do so. Even a nice little scene with his brother Daemon helping him to the throne and picking up his crown when it falls off.
A quick caveat, that was actually improvised, that scene.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That sequence where he drops the crown falls from his head, and Daemon gingerly puts it back on his head, like, as a brotherly sign of affection. 100% improvised by Matt Smith.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Good insight. So I thought his demise was great. He has that, blaze of glory. He's got the family dinner where obviously he knows that he's going to be passing soon, if not that evening. And he basically says, look, I love you all. Stop fighting. Let's just have one really nice dinner together. Alicent, Rhaenyra, pull it together, give each other some compliments. Then it's time for him to go to bed. And of course, then the gloves come off and all hell breaks loose, right?
Yeah, but what I liked about this episode is that it also evened the playing field. I think that if you had to look at yeah, a little bit.
Really?
I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
If you look at Alicent's children,
yeah,
as much as you hate Aegon, because he's now, a philandering womanizer who's, basically a lout.
He's the worst.
He is, but his younger brother is like a mini Daemon, right?
Yeah.
He's cruel. He's a very adept fighter.
Very confident.
Right? Whereas, if you look at Rhaenyra's first two kids, they are not. They're absolutely not. They seem to be more adept as politicians than they would be as fighters. Yeah. So if you had to fight, I would say that Alicent's kids would definitely win out. Now, though, there was that one sequence where Daemon at the throne room cuts off Corlys's brother's head. And there was I don't know if you noticed this, but there was a quick cutaway in that sequence immediately after the head comes off. The camera goes straight to Aemon's face. And you can see he raises an eyebrow, right? Because we saw Aemon earlier in that episode training with Cole and then defeating Criston Cole. And Criston Cole was very proud of him for that. So that was setting him up to be like, hey, I'm the guy who's going to take down anybody who comes up against me. And then all of a sudden you had Daemon kind of put an exclamation point and reminder that, hey, I'm still the alpha when it comes to fighting here. I just cut off this guy's head in the throne room, which is a big no-no for everyone.
Can I make an observation about that scene? I really felt that, I like Corlys, the sea snake, and I kind of liked his brother, Vaemond, and I have to say I agree with Vaemond's position, but I thought that there was a missed opportunity, that the way that he spoke was way too aggressive at the end. He had to know that that was going to be ending badly. He had no one on his side, no one supporting him. I felt like that was so stupid. It would have been better if he would have, I felt for the story, if instead of just basically committing suicide, he would have stormed out and basically kept control of the fleet and said, you know what? Come take the fleet from me. It's my brother's fleet. It's my fleet. All the men are loyal to me. I control the ships. You want, what's the little dude's name? Laris to take over? Come take it from me. You made your ruling. I hear it. I'm not going to follow it. You want me to follow it? Come take the fleet from me. Impossible. That would have been, for me, a way better storyline than just
on
letting
a
him die.
Story, or let's say a practical basis, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely the right play to make. If this were the real world and if we were in that position, I think that would be the more savvy maneuver to do.
Yes.
But in terms of a practical, or maybe, an HBO way of thinking about it, this also allows Rhaenys, Viserys' sister, to then become a major player. Because she wasn't allowed to be queen. And so now she becomes the queen's hand, right? Or the king's hand. Driftwood goes to the kid, and she gets to basically say, hey, I'm going to run Driftwood now. In terms of story.
I guess.
But again, I'm 100% with you. I fully agree that tactically speaking, that was guaranteed suicide.
So I kind of saw this. You made a good point. Now I'm going to walk through it. I saw this episode as, now that Viserys is gone, it's clearly Rhaenyra and Alicent's sides opposed to each other. And Rhaenyra's side is way more fortified with the marriage of her kids to Daemon's kids, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, so no. Remember, she pledges one of her kids to
Daemon's kids.
Oh,
Baela.
yes. You're right. You're absolutely
right. I know. It sounds weird because basically Daemon's kids are marrying Daemon's kids.
Yeah.
It's complicated in that Targaryen family, yeah? So I saw this very funny meme that that said, like, if you don't stop, my uncle's gonna come for my brother and my cousin and my blah, blah, blah. And it basically is the same person in every picture. Right. Okay. But what I don't understand is, where is Corlys's wife, right? Viserys' sister. Yep. Where is she going to fall in this? She's going to be like a third pillar and be fighting for herself? If so, who's on her side? She doesn't have any allies.
But I think that's what she recognized, which is why she finally... So she was opposed to the marriage at first, right? Because she rebuffed Rhaenyra in the garden earlier. But I think she realized in that throne room that if she wants to make it out of here with not just her head, but also with her family in the throne or on the throne, or not even on the throne. I think she's more concerned about Driftmark, and that's it. I don't think she really gives a damn about King's Landing. I think she really only cares for Driftmark.
Yeah.
I think this is the way that she gets to get that done.
Maybe. I mean, it would be fun if it was like a three-way, right? Three-way is always fun. But it would be more fun if it was... if there was like a third person making a claim to the throne, and if she had someone supporting her, right? And she could have done that. If she would have supported Vaemond, she could have said, fine, you take, the high tides, and you support me as, taking over for Viserys, right? And then she's got the fleet behind her. So I feel like, what did she do? She just married off her 2 granddaughters. She's really behind. If all she wants is that Driftwood throne and high tides, okay, I mean, I guess she can still live in the house, but I feel like she's ceded all her power where there is a much better play for her to make. Maybe,
but I'm not sure. And for sure, her story isn't over.
I agree. But where
I
does
think
this
she's
go?
going to be a bit like Natalie Dormer's grandmother.
Yeah.
The Tyrells. I think she's going to be pulling a lot of the strings behind the scenes.
Maybe. I mean, I hope so, because I think right now you saw that this was very balanced. I felt strongly the opposite. I feel like everything is on Rhaenyra's side. She's appointed as the new queen, so to speak. Her husband is very, very strong and supportive. She's got, now the 3 kids, and she's got now the 2 other kids, right, which are Valerians. Mm-hmm. I feel like everything is on her side. Alicent is going to be pushed out, and she has, to be honest, only one kid, who's Aemond, who has a dragon, who's really kind of the only threat.
Yeah, but I think that's what's going to make her a cornered animal. So I think she's going to start, and we saw that bits of that animalistic streak in her when she cut Rhaenyra earlier. I think we're going to see a lot more of her. I think this is when she goes back to Larys Strong.
Oh.
And I think she starts an undermining campaign to commit assassinations.
I kind of thought, one of the things I think that this may be set up for, because you heard that Rhaenyra said it to Daemon when she walked into, I guess, King's Landing Castle at the Red Keep. She's like, hey, I don't even recognize the place. And that's because apparently
all of the religious figures, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, maybe Alicent is going to turn to the 7 gods. Is that what they're called? Right?
I'm not sure. Yeah, but the 7.
Right. Turn to the 7 and have them make a declaration that, hey, like, due to the fact that these are not her kids, they cannot be next in line to the throne. And maybe she starts to put some pressure on through the 7.
Maybe, but now that she's also got kids with Daemon, that leverage goes away. Because even if that's the case, and even if the first 2 boys lose their position in line, she's still got the young.
Yeah.
She's got 1 in the oven, and she's already got 1 kid with Daemon.
Yeah. So actually, I think I mentioned this last episode. So
you called it.
Chimes,
you 100% called it.
This is where I feel like maybe the real Game of Thrones isn't between Alicent and Rhaenyra anymore. Maybe that's over, and we thought that was the battle du jour, and it's not. Maybe it's now between Rhaenyra's kids, right? We've got the 2 Valyrian kids saying, hey, wait a second, we're older and we're more qualified. And the Daemon Rhaenyra kids are like, wait, we're 100% qualified. And now it's a grandchildren battle, right?
Yeah, and I think you're right, because we've been talking about how do we extend this beyond 1 season. This is the perfect way to do it.
Yes.
Because now you have a group of young actors who will grow into the roles. And B, I read that George R. Martin says that there needs to be 4 seasons of 10 episodes each to tell this complete story. Which is aligned with what we were talking about, right? When we said, how many seasons is this thing going to be?
Yeah.
This is exactly right. So we assumed that there were going to be at least 5, if not more. Whereas he went out and said, hey, look, there's going to be at least 4 seasons of 10 each.
I feel like Aemond is going to continue to be a force to be reckoned with. I feel like Aegon is nothing. I'm still not sure where that sister falls into things. But yeah, maybe this is going down a generation, and that's where the real battle is. Although that means that there's a lot of time jumps, and time jumps are really tough.
Man, it's we alluded to this in our last episode, but I'm kind of tired of time jumps mid-season. I can kind of understand a time jump between season 1 and 2, or between 2 and 3, or whatever. I can kind of get that. There have been 4 time jumps in this season alone of 12 episodes. That's a lot. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're losing out on story, because we're still seeing a very good story play out, but I don't know. I feel like you're not giving the actors a chance to really spread their wings either.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on that. I don't know how many more time jumps we can really have. I mean, Matt Smith has stayed the same in every episode, right? We've changed Rhaenyra, we've changed
a little bit
Alicent.
of hairstyle difference here and there, but that's it, yeah.
I mean, Aegon Aemond somehow got huge. Right?
Not just huge. I feel like he's like a 30-year-old man now.
Yeah. I mean, he went from 12 to 30 in one episode. But yeah, I feel the same way, that the time jumps are necessary. Otherwise, the story's just going to be too static. You know, there's only so much drama you can have in the same year. But at the same time, that jumping really hurts character continuity.
Yeah, it's hard to see. And also, you know, you brought this up a couple episodes ago when we were changing from Millie Alcock to Emma Darcy, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame to only be this character for 3 episodes or 6 episodes or 1 episode or 2 episodes.
Comic-Con is going to be so complicated.
Not just that, but you're just like, oh my God, I'm an actor. I'm a young actor. This is my big break. Can you believe it? I've been cast on Game of Thrones' prequel on HBO Max for 1 episode as this young kid. You know what I mean? It's a bit, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth.
I agree.
Any work is good work, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you're just like, oh, son of a bitch, right? You feel like it's a wasted opportunity almost.
Yeah. So there's one thing that happened, and I want to get your opinion on what it means. You saw, like, after this family dinner that ended in fisticuffs, that Alicent went back. Yeah. And Alicent, you know, as Rhaenyra mentioned, she's been very, very good to Viserys. She goes back and she's taking care of him, blah-de-blah-de-blah. Viserys is out of his mind. He doesn't know who he's talking to. And he starts talking about basically the White Walkers, winter's
Game
coming.
Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah, thinking that he's talking to Rhaenyra, right?
Yeah.
What does this mean?
And I hadn't thought of this until you mentioned this. I think Alicent takes this opportunity, or maybe not this opportunity, but sees this as the prophecy that she finally learns about, right? Because remember, that's the same knife, by the way, that she also used to cut Rhaenyra with.
Yep.
So I think she's going to kind of use this as a way to introduce the religious zealotry aspect of her character into the show. To be determined, but that's what I feel.
Who do you like the most on this show? Who's the character that, like, now is, like, really, like, fascinating you? Like, who are you cheering for?
It's tough to really say, man. Honestly, it sounds really bad. Daemon.
I have to say, I feel like I like Alicent a lot. Maybe more as a character than as a person. I feel like I'm probably a little bit more aligned to Rhaenyra as a person. But Rhaenyra was just so... She had so many episodes / years where she just wasn't acting kind of like queen-like that really turned me off. You know? I don't like Aegon at all. I mean, Helena is unknown and weird. Aemond, of course, is just a jerk, but he's kind of a compelling character because he's a young Matt Smith, right?
Exactly. He's a young Daemon, exactly.
Yeah. So if you like Daemon, in a way, you need to like Aemond a little bit. You know,
I do for exactly the same reasons, which is to say that he is a physically strong character, and B, I think a lot of the, let's say, the more exciting parts of the show are going to fall on his shoulders.
Yeah. Whereas I think Jacaerys and Lucerys are very nice young men, exactly the type of boys you'd want to raise. But as you mentioned, I mean, they're way better than Aegon, but compared to Aemond, they're really kind of weak, you know? So I think that's going to be interesting. And then, of course, they're going to be marrying, you know, the Valyrian daughters. So at least that consolidates things, but I'm really interested to see how that kind of schemes out, right? Because I think even within that family, there's going to be a whole lot of, I don't know, not viciousness, but not everyone is going to be aligned, right?
So if you've got, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, but based on the first 8 episodes that we've seen, and we've only got 2 episodes left in this season for House of the Dragon. So based on what we've seen so far, and now really, I think at this point, we're not getting introduced to any more new characters within the family. I think the family lineages are more or less set on Alicent's side and on Rhaenyra's side. Who do you think comes out on top And by the top, I mean, obviously we know that neither side really wins.
Yeah.
Based on Game of Thrones season 1. But in terms of where we're standing today, who do you think lives to tell the tale? Or more importantly, who do you think is going to be the great-great-grandparents of Daenerys Targaryen?
So I kind of feel like it's gonna go like this. Alicent, it's gonna be like kind of like one of these White House transitions. Alicent is gonna stay as long as she can and somehow stretch this out through some type of like procedure, protocol, or just refusal to move out of the house. You know, she's gonna be a bad tenant. And Rhaenyra is going to deal with that for a while, and then I imagine Alicent's just going to be killed. I mean, I'm just guessing. And then Rhaenyra and Daemon and everyone will take over. Aegon is just going to be happy drinking and whoring his way through life. Aemond is going to be like, I'm taking down that family. Aemond is going to be the guy that takes down that family. He may never, but he's going to be, I think, the guy who passes down this rage and this feeling that I should have been king, it should have been my family. And then I think in future seasons, Aemond is always going to be kind of like a thorn in the side. But I also see that there's going to be some split between Daemon and Rhaenyra. And the only reason I guess that is because Daemon's never, ever been a good number 2. He's always been restless. He's always been aggressive. He's always wanted his way. I just don't see him being like the house husband type that sits back. I feel like he's going to get involved. He's going to meddle. He's going to be like, yeah, but I should be doing this, or yes, I can do this. And he's not going to listen. He's not going to ask her advice. He's just going to be off in the stepping stones fighting wars, or this place and fighting wars. He's just going to kind of do whatever he wants to do. And I feel like there's going to be constant tension between Rhaenyra, the queen who should be giving orders, and Daemon, who also has the same lineage, who's basically doing things on his own. And I think that's what's going to kind of like divide the family.
Okay. So you think it's going to end up being Aemond on the throne?
No, I don't think Aemond will ever get on the throne. I think Aemond is a guy who's always going to pass down this, I guess, like feeling that he was inappropriately passed over, right? Aegon is nothing. Aegon's not going to do anything, but Aemond is the guy who's going to pass it all the way down to Daenerys, right? And be like, I think all that rage is going to come from Aemond, his dragon eggs from his dragon, and so forth. All that will be passed down all the way to Daenerys.
I think what's going to happen is that Aemond is going to get taken out first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Here's my hot take. I think the way it stands now, I think he's going to he's going to overplay a hand.
That's
because
right.
He's super confident, he's super cocky, he's super aggressive.
Yeah.
I think he's going to overplay his hand. I think he's going to take out one of the 2 bastard children. I think whoever he takes out, it's going to cause, or he's going to accidentally take out Daemon and Rhaenyra, one of their 2 kids. So it's going to be Targaryen on Targaryen. I think there's going to be an overreaction or an overcorrection, in which case either Rhaenys gets involved because now they've attacked Corlys's line. But I think then what happens is that Daemon and Aemond duke it out, or maybe not even Daemon, maybe someone else. They duke it out. Aemond, I think, gets taken out. And I think what happens with that is the inciting event that makes Aegon turn his life around to stop being such a philandering jerk.
Whoa.
And
I love this theory.
And that's when Aegon kind of steps up and is like, listen, I am the true heir. And he absolutely dominates the battlefield. And I think that because you get a redemption arc, and one of the things we've both agreed on is that it's really hard to find someone that you really like on either side of the field. I think he's going to get a redemption arc. I think he's going to get a lot of people behind him. And I think because if what happened in Game of Thrones is correct, we're also going to learn that Aegon's dragon is going to kill Rhaenyra, right? So I think that's going to happen through his redemption arc.
There's also another thing that makes good sense, actually, because if you're looking at the House Targaryen, the Targaryens are pure Targaryens, right?
Yes.
So Aemon doesn't have a wife, and I don't think there's anyone that he can marry, right? So the kids, the lineage has to come from Aegon and Helena.
Yeah, or what they do in that is they try to broker peace. They say, all right, Aemon, why don't you marry Rhaenyra and Daemon's natural-born kid? Did they mention if she was a girl or a boy, the first kid?
I think it's a boy.
Yeah, but we don't know because she's pregnant with Daemon's second kid now, right?
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Look at Rhaenyra having 4 boys, huh?
Yeah, that's the other thing is, by the way, this is going to sound very crass, but they have so many kids between Alicent and between Rhaenyra that I'm just like, you can kind of marry them off into every kingdom at this stage, right?
I mean, I didn't feel like the survival rate was that high for babies.
No, but I think it's just a numbers game for them. I mean, we'll see. But I think that at this stage, and I can't stand him right now, but I think Aegon is the one that comes through because he's the one who ultimately, or theoretically, his dragon is the one that kills Rhaenyra.
Makes a lot of sense.
That's where I'm standing today. I don't know. And obviously, this is going to change episode to episode and season to season. But mark it, 15th of October. That's the prediction that Pete's making on films and stuff.
I'm going to start a very slow transition to Rings of Power.
Yeah, let's do it.
By saying House of the Dragon is so good because there's so much drama within very limited events. If you really wanted to take a very high-level summary of this episode, a king was ill and was about to die. He called all his family to dinner. The family argued. He passed away. The end. Did anything more happen in the episode? No.
Not really, no.
I mean, but yet we have just discussed this for over half an hour, and we could probably go on because there's a lot of
nuance to all of it. Yeah.
There's a lot of nuance to all of this, right? Now, and as much as I've loved House of the Dragon, and I can't wait until the next episode in 2 days, I get to Rings of Power. Pete, how do you feel?
I feel disappointed, I have to say. I have to say. And not
Amazon, are you listening? Come on. Throw us something.
So, as you know, and as most of our listeners know by now, I take copious notes when I watch flagship programs, right?
Copious.
So, with Rings of Power, with House of the Dragon, I make sure that I have my notepad on my computer open, and I'm able to pause for a second and immediately take down notes of what I saw or what I think is an important take or not. And that's why I'm able to remember accurately small nuances like the quick camera smash to Aemon's face when you see Daemon decapitate.
Bravo, my friend. Bravo to you and your notepad. Small things
that where you're just like, okay, maybe it means nothing, but maybe it means everything. We'll see how that comes out. I'm finding with every episode, I'm taking fewer and fewer and fewer lines of notes with Rings of Power to the point where in episode 8, the finale of the first season of Rings of Power, and mind you, this season cost $715 million to make.
How many credits is that in empirical credits?
Yeah, exactly. Right?
80 million.
80 million credits. Million. That is one quadrant salary in the galaxy. So it was unbelievable that I had one note. I had one line of notes. That's it. And
what's your note? Tell me what the note is.
Where the hell are the dwarves? That's it. That was the only note. That was the only note. After what we saw in episode 7, why wouldn't you show us what we see in episode happened in the mines? What nonsense! I don't need to know about the Balrog. Fine.
Man.
I don't need to know exactly what's going on with the Balrog. As we predicted correctly last week, it was a tease for future seasons. Fine. But what happened to Durin, that's important. He was stripped of his title. What's he doing now? Where are things going to stand in the kingdom? Who's going to be next in line? Are you telling me you're not going to tell us this for another 8-9 months now? Like that's not even a reasonable cliffhanger.
Pete, they cannot do so because they are so busy shoving the Harfoots in my face.
Yeah.
That there's no screen time for anything.
And
meaningful.
I remember I warned you 2 episodes ago. I said, listen, we got no Harfoots for 4 episodes or 3 episodes in a row. That means we're going to get Harfoot heavy at the end. And we did get Harfoot heavy at the end. I mean, it was total nonsense. It was really total the Harfoots for me are the least valuable players in this franchise. And I think they're taking up the most amount of screen time for the least amount of impact on story.
Oh, 0 impact.
So
0 impact.
The stranger not being revealed but kind of being teased, also not fun. I'm pretty sure I know who it is. But if I had to ask you, I don't think you'd be able to tell me who with confidence who it is.
Well, the stranger is the wizard, right?
Yeah, but which one? There's 5.
Gandalf. Is it Gandalf?
It is Gandalf. I think it's Gandalf. I agree. But would you, as someone who hasn't watched Lord of the Rings, be able to tell me why you think it's Gandalf?
Nope. I'd only say it's Gandalf because Gandalf is the only wizard I know. And I mean, I'm just annoyed by Rings of Power. And it's really disappointing to me because I'm watching it and I'm just like on a Ferris wheel. I'm just along for the ride, enjoying the view. Whatever direction it points me at, I'll look at it.
Yeah, you're right. It's a very stale cookie. It's not doing anything. It's boring. There's no climax. I'm not nervous about anything. Everything is then it's intended to like tease me like, oh, this is this. No, it's not. Oh, maybe it's this. No, it's not. And then I felt like towards the end, it was like so rushed. It was like reveal, 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 like the finale of like fireworks and like everything was going off at once. I was like, hold on. Like, where were you for the first 7 episodes where I just wanted like a bite of the cookie? And now you're just like, I'm choking on all these reveals at the same time. Like, what's happening? I was really, So, as someone who's watched Lord of the Rings and knows a little bit of the lore, and again, I am not by any means am I an expert, but I know a little bit of the lore. One, the educated guess is the stranger is Gandalf. He's one of the Astari, one of the Maiar, one of the wizards that come in. Okay? He, in the lore, isn't supposed to come to Middle-earth for a few thousand more years. So the fact that he's here now, it's a bit surprising, and that's why I thought it wasn't going to be Gandalf. But that last line he has is, when in doubt, always follow your nose. That's something he says in the Lord of the Rings movies. That's what Gandalf uses as a line. And I was like, maybe that is Gandalf. And that kind of explains why he's so close to the hobbits in general. They saved his ass. And I was like, okay. That doesn't make sense.
So, it does. So at the beginning, there's these 3
witches,
scary,
right?
sexy, let's call them scary, sexy ladies, right? They come and they say, oh, Lord Sauron, right? Yeah. And I was like, first of all, I can't believe we all knew it was Sauron. And now they're just like, say it like so bluntly like that. But then they like pull the rug out of the carpet because the Harfoots are like, no, you're not bad. You can be good. You're good. He's like, yeah, I'm good, actually. And then you find it's just a trick, right?
Yep.
And that they were just trying to like confuse the dude and make him believe he was bad. Why?
No. So I think they actually believed he was Sauron. And what they didn't realize is that it was actually Gandalf so they said it's one of the others, right? There are 5 wizards that come onto Middle-earth: Saruman, Gandalf, Radagast, and I can't remember the other 2 blue wizards, whatever they're called. So they were under the impression that this guy who came in the comet or came in the meteor was Sauron. That's what they believed. Why? They immediately realized, oh my God, he's actually a good guy when he's able to unleash his inner goodness and destroy them. And you see kind of like this butterfly effect, and you see a little bit of, I don't know, it harkened back to the ring wraiths and the Nazgul when they get destroyed. Some of the visual effects did.
Can I just make a practice point?
Yeah.
In life, if you're going to worship something, should you not be like really certain?
Certain.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true in like almost any cult, Middle Earth, almost anything. You should probably be pretty sure about what you're going to worship before you start worshiping it, right?
And I think also if you're so OP that you can, put your hand in fire and burn things away, blah, 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 how are you not able to take out 4 Harfoots?
I agree. I mean,
that is the most one-sided match ever.
I know.
That should have been, I snapped my fingers, all 4 of them dropped dead.
I mean, I saw this coming though, right? It's the typical bad guy pointing the gun and having this big, long diatribe speech. I'm going to count to 3. And if they just would have like taken the shot, it'd all be over. But instead they had to pontificate for 5 minutes. And then, of course, they get taken out, right?
Yeah.
Blah.
Of course. Anyway, what I liked though, this episode was, I will say, the Sauron reveal, the actual Sauron reveal.
Yeah.
I saw it coming, but not until maybe 10 or 15 minutes into this episode.
Yeah.
So I did like that. I have to admit that to me was good because I didn't know who Halbrand was in terms of the lore.
Yeah. You called it out from just to give Pete immense props for this. You said, and I think these are almost your words exactly, I don't trust someone who's so handsome. You said it right. You said it. You're like, there's got to be something wrong with this guy. He can't be a good guy. I don't trust him.
Well,
good
thank
advice,
you for that,
lady listeners. Good advice.
That's right. So I didn't remember. I mean, obviously, I don't know much of the lore of the Second Age at all. Yeah. But I do remember that Celebrimbor forged the rings with Sauron's help. When you see that Celebrimbor kind of takes to Halbrand and that he's also a smith, I was just like, oh, that's going to be the twist. That's going to be the reveal of the episode. For me, that was not a surprise. And of course, by the way, I'm a little late, but spoiler alert, Halbrand is Sauron. So that was...
Hold on. Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Did Halbrand know all the way back when he was like on this little raft
Definitely.
That he was Sauron?
Yes.
So he was saying like, hey, I was just happy to be like quiet dude living like
typical
an anonymous
evil
life.
Good evil. I mean, really a good evil reveal that way was that he's been a bad guy. He's been subtly manipulating everyone to do the things that he really wants them to do, which is a hallmark of Sauron, right? Like the guy is a master manipulator.
So this is Galadriel's fault.
I mean, kind of.
Kind of in the sense that would the same outcome have happened if she didn't have to like meddle in everything?
Well, that's a question. That's questionable. I mean, it is what it is. That is the story. But yes. This, I mean, if you look at it that way, she's the one who's been goading him on from the first place.
Yeah.
She's also been the one who was convinced that this guy was the lost king. And it wasn't until she gets back to the Elven archives that she learns that there was no onward lineage, so he couldn't be the lost king. And then she puts 2 and 2 together.
So she kind of mucked it all up, though.
She kind of mucked it all up. Because she put her face... She went all in on this guy being somebody else.
I mean, she was right about Sauron still being alive. But she was... Right?
Yep.
But she essentially got herself manipulated by her over-eagerness.
Yes. Her overzealousness is what really did her.
And her inability to separate the wood from the trees. She just wanted to like fight everything in her path, and she forgot like who she was basically recruiting.
This is similar to what we see with that young officer in Andor, right? Who was so over eager to prove himself that he commits the most basic of errors. Same thing. So, or as we would say in, her assumptions were faulty. Let's put it that way. As anyone who's made a business plan will know, if your assumptions are faulty, the whole thing is built on a house of cards. That's what happened here.
Yeah.
But I did like that reveal, even though I personally saw it coming. I feel like most people wouldn't have seen it coming, or your average viewer wouldn't have. So for me, I liked that. I thought that was I thought that was reasonably well done, especially because the last couple episodes, or at least 4 or 5 episodes, they were teasing everyone to think that Adar was Sauron.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember back then I was like, I don't think he is. I think he's just setting it up for Sauron. And then, of course, that parting shot where we see Halbrand / Sauron walk into Mordor and see Mount Doom in the background. I think he knew what he was doing. Yeah. I also think it's a bit ridiculous, though. I mean, and this is, again, for story purposes, I understand that. But for practical purposes, Celebrimbor is supposed to be like this master smith. He's supposed to be the best smith known to history in any world, yet he doesn't understand the process of making an alloy. Like, this is the most basic thing ever.
Yeah.
It's the most simplistic thing of all things, was like, it's an alloy, like, obviously. And of course, that is also what the episode was called. That's like smithing 101. How do you make steel stronger? Put carbon in there. It's the same thing. What are your swords made of, right? Like, I feel like that should have been his first thing, but fine. Okay. So I'm very happy that we got to see the Rings of Power actually be made. I was very worried that we weren't going to see the 3 Rings of Power. I'm glad we get to see them.
I thought that was pretty cool, right? I thought that was really, done well.
Yeah, and once again, you can see where millions of dollars have gone, because that forging sequence was stunning. It was absolutely gorgeous. From the melting of the dagger to the molten ore and the forging, I thought that was done very well.
I mean, this has been our comment repeatedly, every episode, every week, that it's visually stunning. It's so well done. The costumes, the details, the lighting, everything is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. It's just boring. I mean, if it wasn't, for me, this is a solid mooch. But I have to say, if this wasn't such a big name on Amazon, I'd say it's a skip. The story itself is not like that compelling for me. It's a
relatively niche audience, target audience, right? Because it's a high fantasy epic.
Yeah.
It's not something that our moms would want to sit down and watch.
But it's like I said, I still think the litmus test for me is, if I'm with a table of strangers, I've got nothing in common with them, I can talk about House of Dragon forever, and I feel like we'll have a great conversation. For Rings of Power, I can still talk about it with them, but I don't feel like there's going to be any dialogue, dispute, argument, disagreement. There's no drama in the show. Okay? The big reveals came, right? For a while, we didn't really know who the stranger was. It was a genuine mystery. I guess we were all supposed to believe it was either, Sauron or Gandalf, one of the two. Those are kind of the only names that it possibly could have been, maybe. Okay, now we got the big reveal. Okay, looking forward to season 2. Tell me, what should I be excited about? What should we be debating? What should we be thinking about?
I think what's going to happen now is, the way I'm looking at it is, now that we've had some time to let season 1 finish and marinate a little bit in our minds, not obviously a lot because it just ended yesterday. I think season 1, while average at best, I don't want to call it mediocre, but I would say on average at best, it's a solid mooch. I would say what season 1 did do very well, though, was world building. We got introduced to Numenor. We got introduced to the Southlands / Mordor. We got introduced to, and I can never remember the name, but the Elven City. We understand the concept of Valinor. We now have what's the progenitors for the MacGuffin, right? So I think at some point in season 2, or maybe season 3, probably season 2, we're going to see the creation of the One Ring. we're definitely going to see the creation of the 7 rings for the dwarves and the 9 rings for the humans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to happen. The way I see it right now is we see the dwarven rings be made first, then the 9 rings for man. I think the dwarven rings will be made first in an effort to kind of persuade the dwarves to ally themselves with the elves. I think the 9 will be made. I don't know why the 9 will be made. And then I think we end season 2 with the 1 ring being crafted. Just the same as we saw the end of season 1 with the
sense.
3 ring. That's the way I see it. And I think what they've done is now we do not need to see the lore as to who Numenor is and why they're there. We don't need to see the lore of the dwarves. We don't need to see any dwarves. I think season 1 was really like, okay, here's 8 episodes of world building. We're now going to put our foot on the gas and we're really going to accelerate. I think we're going to see the war, not a war. I don't want to call it the war for the throne, but I think we're going to see some kind of battle for the throne in the Dwarven Kingdom. I think we're going to see some kind of battle for the remaining humans in the Southland / Mordor and what happens to them. We're going to see the battle with Numenor. And I don't know if it happens in season 2, but probably in season 3, we see the fall of Numenor.
Can I ask a few clarifications?
Yeah.
When they came back, Muriel and the captain, when they came back to Numenor,
yeah,
what was happening? What was I supposed to see?
Oh.
I don't get it.
The black sails. The king had died.
Okay.
Because the city looked exactly the same, but every ship had black sails and black banners. I think it's because that was their way of saying our king has died. Got it.
And what was this explosion?
I think it's the Palantir. Remember? Because he's talking to another handmaid who he thinks is his daughter.
Yeah.
And then he tells her about the prophecy, and then she finds the secret room with the Palantir, and then the last thing we see her do is unleash the Palantir. Or by unleash it, I mean uncover it.
So what does that mean?
So, from what I understand, the Palantirs are basically like these crystal orbs that allow you to communicate or see. So each Palantir can connect to other Palantirs, like these glass orbs.
Okay.
And so if you've got one and if I've got one, we can kind of communicate with each other. You can see what I can see and I can see what you can see.
Okay.
So I think that's why it's always supposed to be covered. And so I think by uncovering it, I mean, I don't know. This is me fully speculating. I think by uncovering it, she's done something. I don't know what yet. We'll find out more.
Okay. Last question for now. Muriel, the queen, and Captain Elendil, is he saying that he loves her? I didn't get it.
I wasn't sure about that either. That threw me for a loop. I wasn't 100% sure where he was going with that. Right? That was that sequence where he's teaching her to walk the number of steps in the basement of the ship.
Right. She's like, who takes care of you? And he's like, everything I always do and all my sacrifices, it's for for you.
Yeah.
I felt like, was he saying like, I've always been in love with you?
Yeah.
And then they kind of hugged, but it wasn't like sexy romantic
Yeah, it was,
hug.
They were pussyfooting around it. I wasn't sure what they were doing.
It's like that old Seinfeld scene where they meet in the airport, right?
Oh yeah, and exactly.
And Kramer goes to Seinfeld. If she gives you a kiss, that's a good sign. If she shakes your hand, that's a bad sign, right? And then they do like that half embrace,
that half hug thing, exactly.
And he's like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah. So he was like, when you asked me why I picked her Galadriel up, he was kind of implying I did it for you or something. I honestly, no idea. And I'm sure that'll be expounded upon going forward.
So it's done. 8 episodes. We're done with season 1.
Well, it
started after Game of Thrones and it ended before. And now, what's Amazon going to do now?
I think, so they're already filming season 2. They've already started principal production, photography and videography or whatever it's called of the season. I imagine Again, in Numenor, we're going to get, we've got the other hand who's basically been plotting against Miriel. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that about man versus man in Numenor. And I think that's probably going to set up the downfall for Numenor. Honestly, I don't know. I'm just making wild guesses at this point.
I love your wild guesses. Oh, no. So do we have to wait another 46, 44 weeks for this? Or is it not going to be like a full calendar year? Or is it going to be more than a full calendar year?
I think it'll be around the same time next year. If they've already started shooting now, I imagine that they'll be shooting for maybe 2 months. And then I imagine 8 months of visual effects, right? I mean, with the money that they've thrown at this thing, you can see, like, normally you would expect 6 months to edit and do the visual effects, or not even 6 months for a TV series, probably like 3 months for editing and visual effects at most. I think we're going to see them spend like a good 6 to 8 months doing visual effects on it.
And what's your temperature? I mean, if you had to just take the global temperature of reaction to season one and enthusiasm.
I think it's lukewarm at best. I think on average, I'll put it this way. I think diehard fans have been relatively disappointed. Oh. And I think that your average fan of high fantasy, like you and me, has also been disappointed, but maybe not as badly. And I think the rest of the world has just been like, it's a very beautiful show, but it's not compelling, so I'm not going to bother with it anymore.
I mean, my sense is that I feel like there's some redeeming things in here. First of all, as you know, I have not been like a big fan of The Lord of the Rings. I haven't even seen all 3 of them consecutively. I have to say I'm motivated on my next flight to watch all. Maybe that's probably the wrong size screen to watch them on, but I'm motivated on my next flight to watch all 3 Lords of the Rings in order. I have to say it's done that for me. I'm okay with it.
That's right. You did even ask me whether you needed to watch The Hobbits or not, and I said that you probably should. You'd be safe skipping the entire Hobbit trilogy.
But I should not watch The Hobbits before Lord of the Rings, right?
If you want to follow it chronologically, you should. Yeah. But if you want to watch it in terms of quality, I wouldn't bother.
Will I learn something that would prepare me for Lord of the Rings if I watch Hobbits?
No. Okay, I take that back. Yes, you will, because you learn about how Bilbo gets the ring.
All right. Yeah. Maybe I'll think about it.
Yeah. Again, it's the least important aspect of Lord of the Rings is how Frodo ends up with the ring. It's important that he has the ring. The Hobbit explains how he gets the ring, but also like 65 to 75% of The Hobbit is completely fictional. Like it's not based on... Sorry, and by that I mean completely fabricated, not fiction. Yeah. As in it's not a part of the books, it's not part of the lore. There's a romance series in there between an elf and a dwarf that would never have happened. It's a bit weird that way.
I mean, once again, it's a great show to watch. It's just not emotionally or dramatically that compelling to me.
Yeah, it's not interesting. It's the equivalent, I would say, of cotton candy or, junk food that you get at the carnival fair. You're not getting any sustenance out of it. You're, visually it's very sexy, it's very appealing, but beyond that, surface level, at the moment, not much. Although I am optimistic that season 2 will be far superior. Because they're not going to be bogged down with describing who characters are, what they're there for, why they're there. I think we're going to be able to just get on with the story.
I agree. And sometimes, we can be a little bit spoiled as well. I mean, very rarely have we watched a multi-year series and said, the first season was the best. It went really downhill, down. Usually it's kind of the opposite, that year 1 is the first year is kind of when they're getting their footing.
Yeah.
And then season 2, and then it becomes like this global phenomenon like Stranger Things or whatever, right? Yeah. Then season 3 is the ultimate. And then they kind of kept it around for another season or 2 too long, and it kind of like goes down because there's nothing else to talk about.
Which is actually, that's almost exactly the trajectory of Stranger Things right now. Is that I think that last season, if they had done it up properly, would probably have been the last one and called it a day. But I think they're doing one more season now.
They're doing one more. I mean, you can't stop it. I mean, there's so much money to be made, right?
It's just the economics. You're absolutely right. At this point, it stops being a creative endeavor. It starts becoming a financial investment.
Yeah.
And when you start thinking of your show as a financial investment versus a creative endeavor, things have started to go off the rails. Which, frankly speaking, that's also the baggage that Amazon had to deal with. When you're spending $700 million on 8 episodes, you can't help but think of everything as a financial investment.
We need to have, so we've agreed in a past show that we're going to have an episode dedicated to like 80s and 90s movies and rehash those. We should also have one about like shows that stuck around too long, and they were like the unwanted guest. We're like, okay, well, I gotta get to bed. It's getting late. And the guest is like, yeah, how about one more drink?
Yeah.
The guest that just won't leave.
I agree. So look, Rings of Power.
Rings of Power. Now there's 3. Yep.
I think the season was a solid, or maybe not a solid, but it was a shaky mooch. I think that if you have Amazon Prime, you should do, and I made this suggestion to a couple of colleagues and friends of mine as well, you would do yourself a disservice to skip it altogether. I think you should at least watch 3 episodes to kind of get a feel for the visual appeal of the show.
Yeah.
I would say if you're going to watch it based on the story, you can keep it on in the background. I think you'd be fine. It's not a show that requires dedicated, with your blackout curtains down and dedicated viewing and with your phone on silent. I don't think that's the show yet. I will say I'm optimistic that season 2 will be far superior. And I hope it is because, I don't want to sit there and be that guy who wishes ill will on anybody. But because I like the premise, or rather the IP. So I want them to do well. And I think they've set themselves up in such a way that now that all the major players have more or less been introduced, I think we can kind of move on from the fluff and move on to something that's a little bit more substantive.
It's important to me as well that this show does well. And the reason is that it's fun in life when you have a big epic that everyone talks about. It's good for the fabric of society. It's enjoyable. It's nice to have something that you can talk about with everyone that you come into contact with, right? That was the hallmark of, Game of Thrones, and I think House of the Dragon is getting there. But Rings of Power, I really want it to be that way. And it needs to be that common thread that you can talk about with everyone. That's fun. It's enjoyable. I really, really like that. I'd love it to get there, and I think right now there's so much television, and some of it is exceptional. I mean, on our Streamer Skip segment, we've talked about so many great shows, but if you look at those shows, how many people? I mean, okay, Andor, for example. Not everybody is a Star Wars fan. Not everybody's watching that, Minx, not everybody. Industry, not anybody. The Bear, not everybody. 9 Perfect Strangers. These are great shows. Night Sky, Blackbird, wonderful, wonderful shows. Not these international, global phenomenons.
Yeah.
Maybe Stranger Things for the right group, but Stranger Things isn't being watched by
our parents.
Nearly, I think, the number of people. Yeah.
I'm giving it a mooch. I want people to watch it. I want this show to succeed. And, this is not me as a fan of Amazon one way or another. This is me as a fan of the IP. And also because, you want to see good programs on TV.
We do. Keith, my favorite 1 hour of the week.
Wonderful.
Apart from the fact that I get to watch House of the Dragon soon again, is coming to a close. And thanks for getting me up to speed on some of the finer points that I missed.
No, my pleasure. Really good. And of course, this is just my opinion. This is just Ethan's opinion. If you guys saw something that we missed, or if you think that Rings of Power is terrible, or it's good, and you disagree with something that I said, or heck, maybe I misread something in the lore, leave us a comment. Tell us what's right. Tell us what's wrong. We're happy to correct ourselves and issue a retraction, although we won't publicize it too much. But in any case, leave a comment, tweet at us at FNS Podcast, or drop us an email, aloha@filmsandstuffpodcast.com. Reach out, tell us what you like, tell us why Game of Thrones sucks compared to Rings of Power, or vice versa. We're here to listen for it.
Indeed we are. Pete, pleasant episode as always. Listeners, thank you for your time, attention, and clicks. We will see you next time on Films and Stuff.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.